Hey, it's Julin and Jen with Autonomy Learning, and today we are going to talk about the feelings and the discomfort that comes with new learning.
And a lot of times with new learning, we are inviting a student to step into what used to feel easy and into something that feels challenging, right? So stepping into discomfort is not typically something that you would choose to do on your own. And
Yeah.
one of the examples that comes to mind is if a kid has been reading a book that they loved and they knew the characters really well,
Mhm.
right? And they knew the setting and they could picture it and it was comfortable and they chased that ending and found out what happened to that character. And then what does it feel like to step into a new book?
Right.
It's
Well,
different.
two things come to mind. One thing is that that's why a lot of kids will love series, right? Because that feels
Mm,
comfortable to go to the next book.
they
They
already know
know
the
the characters,
characters.
they're
Yeah.
great. Right. And
Yeah.
so that feels really good. And so finishing out a series is a sense of accomplishment, and that's wonderful. But we do see kids that will then get to the end of the series and then want to reread it. Right.
Ah,
And it's a little bit of that, okay, I have to get into a new book. Or, you know, when you're learning about new characters or you're at the beginning of a book in general, you've got that growth, the first step in that you're
mhm.
excited, but then it's like it's hard, right? You have to kind of get past like, okay, what is this author saying? This isn't really making a lot of sense. And sometimes that's when kids will be like, oh, I'm just gonna go get another book,
After
right?
like 3 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we
Or
always
sometimes, yeah.
yeah, we always
Yep.
tell them that like you have to approach this as, who's my character? Who am I meeting? Right. I've got to kind of get to know them and then give it some time, right? Give it some time to kind of see where it goes. Read the first 3 chapters at least, right? And just get yourself moving through that. Okay, this isn't making sense right now. Maybe
Mhm.
this book isn't what I really like because it feels uncomfortable. But I mean, that's the way new learning is. It's if you are sitting in comfort, you're not growing, right? It takes that stepping out of the comfort zone to grow.
Mhm. This makes me think too. This is not about books, but it's about the fun of course sheets
Yeah.
that comes around a lot this time of the year, right?
Hmm.
So, high schoolers are thinking about what courses they want to take
Hmm.
next year. Middle schoolers have slightly fewer choices, but they're still, really thinking through, I've got all of these different math paths and I've got all these different
Hmm.
electives, right? And I can choose advanced or accelerated or whatever the verbiage is on your campus, right? And so, one way to consider framing this is, in a sense, it's what new shells do you want to step into last year or this year? And what did you notice about yourself as a learner this past year, right?
Mm.
Like, what is feeling more comfortable to you now and you want to challenge yourself? Where does it still kind of feel like that new shell and that new situation? And maybe you want to stay the course with that, right?
Right.
So, if you've got 4 core subjects, for example, maybe your kid is choosing 2 areas where they want to challenge themselves a little bit more. And talking through and having those conversations can be a really good way to normalize okay, well, this is new. This is going to feel weird.
Mm.
But even engaging them in that conversation is really empowering for kids.
Yeah, it's a cool way to talk about goals, actually. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
hearing you say, like, hey, let's think about what you're wanting to challenge yourself in rather than saying, what do you want to take? Because then
Mm-hmm.
that kind of again puts you in this passive stance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what is the, or, what do you want to get out of that, right? That
Mm-hmm.
really brings them into the active part of planning their learning. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So if you have any comments or want to add to the conversation, put them in the chat below, but we will be back next week with another topic.